All right, and we are live. Today we have Ashley Rock, formerly known as Ashley Patty. I will let her introduce herself. I'm just going to give you her name, and then you can kind of let us know where you're from.
Okay. Do I look at the camera?
No, we're just talking.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're just talking.
I just want to make sure.
Have you never done a
not
podcast before?
No.
Oh, really?
This is my first.
As popular as you
First-time
are, I
podcast.
honestly would have assumed that you have done this before.
No.
That's why I was like, okay, cool. So we are doing your first podcast.
I know.
Awesome.
You're really breaking the mold. I've had a few where I've talked about going on one, but this is my first one I actually set a date
All right,
for.
cool.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
I feel like we have two good guests
I
back to
know.
back.
Yeah, I am Ashley. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I grew up in Lafayette, Indiana. My whole dad's side was from there, and then my mom's side is from Terre Haute. So I always came here in summers and every other weekend to see my mom's side. And then once I started shooting like full time, I just built like a crazy base here. Like I don't even. It was like overnight. Like somehow my biggest clientele is in Terre Haute. But
So you've been, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been doing photography for what, 11 years, 10 years?
yeah, but I tell people I've only been doing it well for like 5.
Bro,
So
by that calculation,
real.
I'm
Yeah.
not doing good photography yet because I've been
No.
doing it for 5 years.
I was like a high schooler.
I don't know where that puts me, man. Bro.
You guys learned a lot quicker. I was like probably like 17 and just using auto on my camera. And, I know.
We all started in the same place. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So what initially, like, what was the first, how did you get into photography initially? Like the very, very first thing, like the first time you picked up a camera?
Man, so long ago.
Yeah.
To be honest, I first initially got into video. Like I liked
What? I didn't know that.
baby.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm
That's-
learning new stuff. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, you're about to learn so much then. Yeah, so I loved music videos and I asked for a video camera for like, I think I was in 6th grade and I would make YouTube videos and they're still out there and they're horrible. I was 13.
I can relate to that.
So how do I
have
find
a
these
long lost-
videos?
Yeah, just pop them up on the screen right now.
Yes. And then once I got to high school and I just made YouTube videos with my friends, music videos, my theater teacher was like, you should try a photography class. It will like help your theater eye. And I was
absolutely.
like, okay. And then I did that and I was like, damn, I kind of love this just as much.
Yeah.
And so honestly, I actually moved to Atlanta because I work in film and run a photography business.
I didn't know that either. Cool.
Yeah. I was like, we're about to deep dive into so many layers. So yeah.
Yeah. So did you go to Atlanta because of the film production side, or did you go to Atlanta because that was just like the move you wanted to make?
For the film, but also the photography.
Okay.
I graduated college, got a job near Louisville, Kentucky, and it was advertising. And I just realized like I wanted more of the entertainment side rather than like commercials. And I was looking and it was like Atlanta had beat out LA like the last 5 years in jobs
Really?
for the film industry.
That surprises me, honestly. 'Cause
Right.
LA is like you would
I've heard
think.
people say that before, like Atlanta is the new
Hollywood.
the new LA or Hollywood or something like
Yeah.
Austin, Texas is kind of in that conversation as well for some other industry. But
Yeah, it's because it's things you don't think about. Like we have Vampire Diaries, we have The Walking Dead. We film a lot of Marvel movies in Atlanta. So like, and then you think of all the rappers.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, the music industry in Atlanta has always been, I mean, I've always followed that. And
Yeah.
even when I was like a 10, 11-year-old, I probably shouldn't have been. But, but yeah, I've always known Atlanta to be a music hub for sure.
Yeah.
For the country and let alone the South. But
Yeah.
to know that Hollywood is Hollywood is making a move to Atlanta, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So basically my quick version of it was I moved to Atlanta being like, I'm going to work in film. I'm going to work on big movie sets, whatever. And I'm going to do photography on the side. Then once I got into movie, I somehow tripped myself into movie sets, music videos, and was mind blown. And then I realized that the money, like you have to work like 10 years to get somewhere for money. basically.
For the film industry?
Yeah, because
Gotcha.
you have to have so many hours. There's a union for it, and then you have to go up against
There's
all
a
the other.
union.
Oh yeah, you have unions for acting, unions for basically every facet of production, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I was looking into that, I was like, okay, I'm looking at like 7 years of grinding 100-hour weeks to get to a director level. And I was like,
Which at that point, it's probably not even guaranteed.
yes, because
Yeah.
you are now up against all the other people who have been grinding as well. And in your spare time, you need to make your own stuff. And I was like, and at the same time, my photography was like blowing up. And I was like, and I felt some sort of weird thing because I got a degree at Ball State in film. And I was like, I think I felt guilt, like, oh, would it be bad to switch to do photography full time and only do film sometimes? But then like my passions were just flip flopping, and I was like, I should just do whatever I want.
Exactly. That's literally as you were saying. I was like, do what you want. Do what you feel like you, whatever your heart's, and that's the beautiful thing about it is like what's on your heart can change from year to year, or, from phase of life to phase of life. So
yeah, because I was like, especially getting there, I was 23, and I was like a set day is like you're looking at like 12 to 13 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like this once in a blue moon. This is fun, but I don't want to do it 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And not to say if someone picked me up for a show, I would absolutely do it. But at that point, I was probably working like 12-hour set days for like $75.
Well, it's just not sustainable.
Not at all.
Especially with Atlanta pricing.
Oh yeah.
It's not Indiana pricing, that's for sure.
Right. So then I deep dove into my photography. I still worked on film sets time to time, and I worked on some really cool shit.
I was about to ask, what's the coolest thing you've worked on so far?
Oh my God, this is my biggest flex. I say that. I
like
say that,
it.
but I was a PA. Like I was a production assistant. I wasn't shit. But my biggest one, there's two, I think, because I was really into the music. My biggest one was I knew this director, and he messaged me one day and was like, I need someone right now. Are you available? And I was desperate. Like, I was like, okay, what is it? And then he sends me an audio message, and he's like, I don't know if you know her, but it's Meg the Stallion.
Yo.
What?
And this
That's crazy.
And this was
man.
when she had her the very first song that like popped off.
I don't know. I know she's popular. I don't know her songs.
She's massive now.
Massive. And she was like getting massive. That was like right when she was peaking, and I was like,
Did you know her before they asked about?
yes.
Or was it so much that you were like, oh my God, really?
Yes, like
Yeah,
I
okay.
freaked out. I mean,
Yeah.
not to him. I was like, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, it's chill. I know Meg. We're on a first name basis.
Yeah, and I'm like calling my parents, like, you won't believe it. So she did a like horror comedy skit. It was like a 3-part YouTube thing where it was kind of like the Scream movies, but they wrote a skit, and so I went and PA'd on that. And that was so wild to like meet her in person.
Yeah.
And I completely embarrassed myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
That's part of it.
yeah, I was just like, oh, wow, okay. And then the other big one, or at least to me, big one was Spotify Rap Caviar. They did a visualized series where they would bring on the producer and say like, how did you make this song? And then we would film it and do all these visuals. And basically they called and they said, you need to show up and act like you know what you're doing, because this is a high-end set and they can't know you're new. And I was like, okay, got it.
Sure thing.
Yeah. And then they were playing the beats because they hadn't released this song yet. It was him. It was, I don't know if you guys will know names, but it was Earl on the beat.
Oh, I know the name, but
Yes.
I don't know.
So he was making this song, whatever. And then I was actually in Indiana. The first time I heard this song, I was in a little liquor store downtown. And it was Act Up by the City Girls. And it blew up that summer. And the way I acted in that liquor store, you would have thought I wrote that song.
Right.
I was there while they made this.
No, I mean when you hear or see something that you helped have a hand in producing, it's just like it's kind of a surreal moment, I imagine. Like,
yeah,
even for just like the promo videos that I've done around for local businesses around here, it's just like, dang, like so many people are watching. They have no idea that was like me who put that together. You know what I mean?
Yes, but
her on a way better,
I feel that.
bigger
No,
scale.
No. Listen, like I said, I was a PA. Like it was.
What level of I guess pecking order is that? Is a PA is a production
bottom.
assistant? Is it?
Yeah. That is
production
like,
assistant sounds like I know director is like.
Director's high. Yeah.
And then you have DP, right?
There's a lot. So it's hard because
Is it more of like a
It's a team.
Yeah.
So there's some that are all on one tier, but like PA is like, PA is like where you begin.
Okay, I got you.
And then you work up and up because there's like gaffers. There's,
Right.
there's
Gaffers
also,
are responsible for lighting.
See, I would.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not that new, but thank you, sir. Anyway, that was really good. That was funny. Oh shoot, what was I going to say?
My bad.
I totally forgot. Go ahead.
No, you're okay. But yeah, so those two, another one that's a big name, but I had a terrible time. I'll be honest, it was awful.
This is a safe space.
I know. I'm like, it's ASMR. My first set I ever got picked up on was MacGyver, the like new MacGyver.
Like the show? Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I worked on it and I was a PA and I was like, oh my God, I did it. I moved to Atlanta. I'm working on a TV show. Hated it.
Was it the content of what they're producing, or was it the team atmosphere, or was it
It was
just kind of a combination of things?
no, it wasn't like anyone was rude to me or anything. Everything was great. It just was when you're a PA, especially in TV, you just do nothing. And I spent like 14 hours. It rained on and off and we were outside. And my job was just like stand and make sure no one comes down this road for 3 hours.
Oh, that's
And
security.
Then, like,
that's not.
Yeah. And
Well,
that's what yeah. And so it was like, it was that. And then everybody on the team, when I was like asking if it got better, they're like, no, like this is how it is every day. It's horrible. And PAs are known to like, even though they don't say it, they get hazed. So like you're not allowed to sit down that entire time.
What?
Or you're in trouble. And I have high arches. So I was like, how am I going to do this 6 days a week?
Yeah.
12-hour days. And I'm standing on gravel.
Yeah.
And I would do other things. Like if they needed something, we had mics. It was all good. But I was like, this was awful. And
Wasn't necessarily what you were expecting going in.
yeah. And then once I worked on a music set, they were like, oh, that's most of the case for TV shows. Like you're working long days. And not that there aren't good ones. Like there are.
yeah.
Now that I'm older, I get it. But walking into it blindly.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably the people,
Yeah.
right? It's probably like the specific people you deal with. It's a case by case thing, right?
Yeah. Because the guy
would
who brought me
assume.
on, awesome. The people I met were great. But there were a lot of people who you could tell like they didn't want to be there and they were miserable. And here I am like, just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Bright-eyed,
Like,
bushy-tailed, ready to go.
yes.
Well, look at her. She doesn't even know what she's getting herself into.
Right.
She'll
right.
be tired and 3 hours in.
Yes. So like that wasn't a big deal. But when I heard like, oh, you got to work 7 years to even like start touching a camera.
Man.
That's nuts.
And then when I moved over to music video sides and they were all in a good mood, we're playing the music. They're like, those are 12-hour days, but they're busting it out in like 3 days.
TV shows can go on for weeks or.
Yeah. Which I'm not dogging on it at all. I have total respect. I have a lot of friends in the industry, but especially with our consumer, we want TV shows like that.
Right.
So, and I just realized that wasn't for me.
Sure.
Not that it's a bad thing. I just was like, I'm more of like, let's listen to music for 3 days and bust it out rather than like, I just couldn't see myself spending 7 years grinding to like get anywhere. So,
So do you have to go to film school to get into, okay, I didn't.
no. And I didn't know that either till I moved there. I was like, do you need my resume? And they're like, no. So
How many years did you go to school?
I got a bachelor's degree. So 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I learned a lot. So like, I don't regret it.
Okay.
But yeah, when I got there and I was like, you mean I could have like come here at 18 and
And
started
just
this?
learning
Right.
trial by fire. Yeah.
Yeah, because there were kids like there were people my age who were already up on that next level because they grew up in Georgia and knew the scene.
Yeah.
So like they knew to start off as a PA young.
Yeah.
How did that feel? That whole dynamic, because like seeing people who were younger than you, already further than you, did you almost feel like betrayed, like by people who told you needed like the degree?
I didn't feel betrayed. I felt dumb. I felt like
Fair enough.
like dang, there's Google, you know.
Yeah,
like I could have. No, it was more so. I was excited to see like a bunch of people doing that. I more so felt it on myself. Like, dang, like I really. Because I went through military, I went through school. I was like, I did all of this. And like, I could have just come down here like right away. But when I think about it more, it's like, I learned so many things like about gaffing, I made so many connections. Like the whole reason I landed in Atlanta was because of someone I met at Ball State.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, there's intangibles that you probably can't even account for. Like it wasn't wasted.
Yes.
That's good.
When people say like it's more about the connections, they are so right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Makes
the one
sense.
thing I've learned in my short time in business is like when I first started out, it was like I'm just doing this on the side, making some extra money to golf, shoes, whatever.
Yeah.
And I've quickly learned that the single biggest influence over my like revenue streams was networking. Because now it's
Yeah.
not only is my main revenue stream, much wider. Now I have multiple opportunities that are different revenue streams because of those networking opportunities. And so it's like of all the techniques and equipment and art of photography books and out of all of that, the biggest change was networking. And so it was
Yes.
like kind of like to make you feel dumb, like dang, I should have did this a long time ago.
Right.
You spend so much time working on your craft, and you realize like your skill that you've refined over years and years can only get you so far. Like you could
Yeah.
have like something that you've had to make me realize is exactly what you just said. Like the fact that we've been kind of partnering up and stuff like that, and you've been kind of taking me under your wing with the whole business side of everything.
Yeah.
When in reality, I've been doing the whole video thing for about 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah.
Because I started in YouTube, and I
Okay.
started doing like music covers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I play the guitar and sing. And then I just slowly went into the whole video side of it. And I'm like, oh, I got obsessed with it for a while, built the skill. And then just this last 6 to 12 months, realizing, okay, my work's good. I know that.
Why am I not landing this?
Why am I not landing as many big clients as I want? Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm just starting into the business of it.
Right.
You can't expect to land like a $10,000 client right off the bat.
Right.
But realizing that you have to work on the business skills as well, like even more so, I would say.
Yeah.
Assuming that you already have a skill set that is of high enough quality.
Right. Exactly. And a big part of that too is like we're in such an age of social media that like people are almost half hiring you for your personality as well.
Yeah.
They don't just want
Yeah.
they don't just want what they see. They want to see that you're cool to work with, that you're
Right.
going to bring good energy.
Do you care?
Yes.
Yeah.
And one big thing I actually learned at Ball State that I've never forgotten was one of my professors said, like, I would take a shitty videographer with a good attitude over as the perfect videographer who doesn't give a shit. Sure. And I was like,
Yeah, dang, that's so true. Because it sounds obvious, but I've never like really thought about it like that. Because I guess we've talked about that before. Where it's like if I can vibe with somebody, I would take somebody who I have to teach a decent
Yeah.
amount to, as long as their vibes are like matching with me and cohesive and everything. So
right.
yeah, that's kind of the same thing as like the whole networking thing.
And
now,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, go.
No, I just and that's why I was like, that's why I say like I don't look down on the TV industry at all. It's full of really great people who work hard, and like my one connection led me to several others in Atlanta. You just have to realize like what's for you and what's going to click with you to bring your good energy out. And for me, even though I really thought TV, it was music videos that really clicked with me, where some people it's TV that brings that passion out of them. So anyways.
No, that's funny because I've had the opportunity to work on a couple of music videos, and I was just like, now again, this is not like a set that's funded like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. I don't know what the sets are funded like, but these were like low profile jobs like locally, but still it was just like I don't want to work with artists because like they're a headache. They're like they expect the world and want to pay a dime like. And so my personal small anecdotal experience with music videos has been very not good, but I also haven't worked on TV, so it could be even worse.
Okay, but listen, you got to remember, I grew up in Indiana, so I had the same experiences. Like I've shot a few music videos where it didn't go anywhere, and you put your whole soul into it. So
that's the worst part. It's like I'm giving you everything I got.
yeah, exactly. But at this point, I love where I have landed. There was a point where I was like, was this a mistake that I moved to Atlanta?
And I think that's natural.
Yeah.
That's very natural. And I think that everybody has to kind of feel that and go through that because, how are you going to know you made the right decision if you don't, I'm not going to say agonize over it, but if you don't at least like consider all the possibilities and consider like, is this the right move or was this the right move or, how do I feel about it? And I think that it's important to like reflect on those things and like, and the important part though is to authentically reflect on it and like, not just think like, okay, everything else is the problem. No, like where's my heart at? What do I want to do? Like, is this for me? Is my personality fitting in this? Like, all those different things.
Right. Well, and a big thing for me that like I also love to tell everybody who's in any passionate industry or creative industry is I struggled a lot with like, do I want video? Do I want photo? Do I want video? And one thing I truly came into and it helped me accept a lot was as a creative, you are always going to like several things. Mm-hmm. And I think too many people when I was younger told me like, you'll find your niche, and it's okay if you have multiple, or it's okay if this one's your moneymaker and this one's for fun, or if you only do this one sometimes. And I think I was so stuck on like, what's my thing? And the minute I let go of that was when I found what I loved.
And it's so funny that you say it because like that's what art is. Like art is allowing it to just go where it's gonna go instead of trying to fit it in a box. Like if you're fitting something in a box, you're not creating art. You're just creating a template. Like and the free that free expression of like your work representing who you are and like we talked about before. Like when somebody's able to identify your work. Before they even see your name on it, like, you're creating art at that point.
Right.
And it's so funny that you say that because it's just like, you cannot try to contain yourself in a box or in, certain parameters or whatever. Like I would have never tried weddings, but my wife was like, no, you got to try at least one wedding and see if you like it. And I love weddings.
Really?
Like, you said you were dead set against weddings.
I was dead set. Like I'm never going to do wedding. Like,
why?
Just because I was like,
you hate love?
Always corny.
No, I don't. No, I love
it's weddings. Like
I love love.
It's corny?
What did you? No. I don't think it's. Hold on. I love weddings. Those are like my outside of like. I would love to do corporate work. I think that'd be super cool to try. I've never done it before, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm speaking from complete ignorance. You can let me know.
No.
But weddings are so much fun.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I was so against it in the beginning was because my only experience with weddings was being in weddings. I had never been to, prior to doing photography, I had never been to a wedding as just a guest.
Really?
I've always been in the wedding. And it was always like a nightmare of like people running and dashing back and forth and yada yada. And I was just like, I would never want anything to do with that. And then my wife was like, no, you have to try at least, like you're just getting into photography. You have to try a little bit of everything and figure out what you like.
Right.
And now I've gotten to the point, because I started out doing just families.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I don't really do any family photo shoots. Like I'll do them really as like, I've obviously get paid, but like to even explore doing a family photo shoot is like me doing a favor for somebody that I know.
Right.
And now I love, because I've always loved love. I've loved like rom-coms, like, deep, emotionally provoking, like romantic movies, things like that. So I've always loved love, but I just never thought I would be the one that would love to photograph it. But like as a photographer, in my experience, it's always been very like stress-free.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm capturing what's happening, and like I'm guiding it a little bit and coordinating a little bit if there's not a coordinator and stuff. But I'm just there capturing what's happening. And I've been lucky enough to pick the right clients to where their vibes are awesome. And so it's like the couple is awesome. They have great chemistry. The wedding parties are usually great. I've only had a couple of like bad mother of the brides.
Yeah.
But I mean, they all can't be winners, I guess.
Right. Oh, nothing's worse.
I won't call you guys out by name, but
most humans suck. You're going to run into them eventually.
I know. I'm like, oh, nothing's worse than when you get a couple with no chemistry and you're like, y'all sure?
Do you do a lot of weddings? Anymore?
I do. And then I go all over social media and I'm like, I'm only going to do a few a year. And then
I've seen you say that. Yeah.
And then I keep taking them.
Video or photo?
Photo. I did video a while and it's just not, wedding video is not for me. I totally love wedding videos, but for me, I find more love in the photo. I think videographers should be paid more for doing wedding videos.
Agreed.
I think we can all agree on that. Yeah, definitely.
I think they're underappreciated. I think they're under double the stress that I am as a photographer.
I just needed to hear that.
Like,
God bless you.
Like people don't understand how when that bride walks in, you got to pull the focus.
Dude,
like
there's so much.
It's so like
so much moving stuff.
Yes, or like if you walk in front of me while I'm getting a photo, I just snap it half a second later. But if I walk in front of your shot, ruined.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't I can't deal.
I love it, but I mean, we love it. I mainly do photos. Probably still 70% of my wedding clients are photo.
Yeah.
This slowly starting to teeter the other way to where it's like getting towards that 50-50. I've told him I think that I would be happy. I could live a happy man if it was 100% videos.
Yeah.
But we are also like, I would say on the more expensive side, even for like
for the area. Absolutely.
Yeah, for the area. Even if we went over to Indy, we would still be like mid-tier.
Do you
as
guys
far as pricing.
duo?
So we do our own,
question, yeah.
but we are working towards a partnership. But we have a combo package that we will book together. So like if I get somebody that is interested in both photo and video, the first thing I'll do is, hey, do you have September 21st available or whatever?
Vice versa.
Yeah. See,
And-
now if you got a good duo, that's the dream.
Yeah. We would
So.
like to add a third person. I don't want to say we are eager to add a third person. We would welcome a third person if it fits.
Yeah.
Because then, we have this idea that we could really take over the wedding photography and videography industry around here, because at that point we could send one lead to 2 or 3 different weddings and then hire an associate for those different leads.
We'd be able to take two or more, 2, 3, 4,
at least 2 weddings a day.
A Saturday.
Yeah, you just got to find people you can trust, and
That's the
biggest
thing. I'm
Yeah.
not a trusting person by nature. I'm very
me either.
I think that's a good quality, though. I think that's like, if you look at somebody, you don't automatically just let them in because they're a random person.
Yeah.
Because they could do a lot of damage. You don't know who that person is. And I think
Yeah.
that's smart. That's reasonable.
Yeah, see, I did it backwards, and I just went and got damaged, and then I said, oh. So this is why we need to not just like
Right.
trust everyone.
This is why you contract everything. This is
Yes,
why.
yes.
Get it in writing.
Yes, but those were like way early days of just like, oh, that'll be cool. And I was like, oh, that was really bad. It's fine. But no, that's really cool though. I love that. And I think there's so much in building a good team. But yeah, the trust is a huge aspect because it's still your art.
Yeah.
Like it's still art, and it's someone's wedding day. That's a big thing in their hands.
Yeah.
So.
I would say I don't ever get stressed out at weddings, but I will say that that's the one thing that's always in the back of my mind is like, up to this point, this is the biggest day of their life, assuming they don't have kids or, whatever. But up to this point, this is the biggest day of their life. Like I do not want to mess it up, but that's like, it's not like a heavy weight that I carry. It's just like more of almost like an exciting challenge.
It's like an honor.
A what?
It's like an honor.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Thank you for it means so much to me that you would allow me to capture this day for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do want to circle back. So with you in production and everything, do you have kind of like so we see the word cinematographer or cinematography thrown out there, in my opinion, way too much. I would say you probably agree based on the fact that you're literally on the inside.
Right.
So what do you think brings a person from a videographer to a cinematographer? Like what's that distinction? Do you feel like there is one, or is it just like your body of work, your skill set, what is it?
Man, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I don't really know. I've never thought about it that deeply.
Okay.
Just because like maybe this sounds too like cocky, but like if I go and look at someone's work, I can tell a cinematographer from a videographer. Like just from like how it looks visually.
Yeah.
Like I can tell what people know what they're doing and what people don't. And not that there's anything bad. Like I said, I started with terrible YouTube videos like I didn't know what I was doing, but I think it just shows in the way they market themselves, the way their work looks. I think their work speaks for itself in that aspect, but I truly haven't thought about it a lot. But coming in here, I was on the more photo mindset, so now I'm like,
We like to keep you on your toes around here.
yeah.
No, I mean that would make sense though, because I'm a photographer mainly, and as far as you know, and honestly, I had no idea that you were in film or video, anything video at all. I thought you were just 100% photo. So that's honestly cool to learn.
I mostly am now, but it's a thing where like I will always leave that door open.
Okay.
Like I don't know, I can't shut it. It's fun.
And why would you? I mean,
Right.
you're just shutting off opportunities at that point.
Yes, and like if something like presented itself, I'd be down for it. And I still find love in the video. It's just I just flirted back over to photography, and now it's booming. So
Yeah, good.
It's great.
Good.
You said you worked in advertisement. Was that first before the film stuff?
Is that, what do you mean?
Like in terms of like the timeline. Like
As
you worked
like
in advertisement.
career?
Yeah.
Yes. So I graduated Ball State. I got a job being a videographer as well as a photographer for an advertising company. And then, God, I hate to say this, but they probably won't see it, so it's fine. Hated it. and like 6 months into the job, I called a quarter life crisis. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And then I die. Like I went and got a degree to do, and I was like, no, I want to do more. Like, and it wasn't that the actual videos were bad. They were great.
Yeah.
I had a great time. I learned so much. That's actually what turned me over to Sony, was that job.
Okay.
And I got a lot of great experience. I learned so much, but I didn't feel, this is so cheesy, but I didn't feel any passion in anything I was making. I just felt like I was just I was like a video monkey. Like,
like here, go here, do this, push this button. Yeah.
Yeah, and I realized in college I wrote my scripts. I picked my angles, and there it's a team, so they wrote everything, and I was just the person who knew how to work the camera. And it was like commercials, like for businesses, and that's great money. And there's people. My other videographer, he loved it. It was exactly what he wanted. For me, I was like, I want something that makes people feel like I want them to laugh, cry, mad, anything. But I was like, this is just too like day to day for me.
Yeah. I think that, advertising, video, like marketing, commercials and stuff like that is like, the only thing you're trying to make somebody feel is the urge to buy.
Yes.
And and like you said, like I agree. I want you to feel like, whenever I do wedding videos, that's why I tell people, like, if you want somebody to just capture and deliver, I'm not the person that you want to hire, because what I'm going to do is capture audio, obviously visuals. I want to capture moments. And then I want to cut that into a story. I want to tell the story of your guys' day and the story of your guys' relationship through that wedding video. And if somebody's not crying, I didn't do my job right. Like,
right.
Yeah,
Right. So basically 6 months into that, I came home and was like, and my dream always, even at Ball State, was like, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to go make it big. I'm going to whatever. And so 6 months in, I basically came home and looked at my fiance, and I was like, I would rather move somewhere and be a starving artist than be stable. Because I'm like, even though I'm a creative, I'm very type A. And so that was like, I had to feel pretty bad to be like, okay, I'm willing to just like risk it. And so,
what does type A mean?
very organized. You want stability. So the thought of going full-time freelance scared me.
So the contrast,
I liked paychecks. I liked knowing that I was secure. But I was like, no, I don't care. I want to move away. We're going to make it happen. And then we made a plan, and I moved to Atlanta with no job. I signed a lease that was triple the rent in Indiana. And
you're talking about a living situation, or you're talking about studio lease?
Living.
Okay, gotcha.
I didn't get a studio till recently, but we signed a lease. Then we got married. So my husband and I, we both had no jobs, signed a lease, and just like said, let's figure it out.
Let's do it, yeah.
Yeah, my dad's like, are you sure you got this? And I bluffed.
If I don't, you'll figure it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Right. So, yeah, but I mean, I think I would recommend saving more money before you do that, but
I was about to ask, so like, obviously, I think all three of us are advocates of like, take the risk, make the leap.
absolutely.
Having said that, I believe we all three, well, at least me and you, I don't know how Hayden feels, I won't speak for him, but I would say you probably agree, we have a little bit of survivor's bias, whereas like we have made it to the point where it's like we're making a living doing what we love to do.
Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody that is like on that fence of like, okay, do I just make this jump, or do I stay with the stable job that I know is going to bring me, X amount of dollars every 2 weeks?
I say if you have the passion for it, do it. Because anyone, and that's simple, but anyone I've talked to who didn't, any adults, the next generation above me who didn't, all they say is, I wish I tried. And that was my thought was, what's the worst that happens? We go to Atlanta, it sucks, and I come back.
Yeah.
And get a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was so scary, but like I would not have everything I do today if I didn't just do it. And I was 22 when I made that call.
Man, that's wild to me because
Yeah.
I made I'd say the jump. I quit my full-time job in May 2022, so it's been a little over a year and a half now.
Yeah.
For me, and that was so I would only been 31, or not only I was 31, so I was like very well seasoned in life in comparison to when you made that, not more than you are now, but like when you made that decision. Like, so to me, thinking at 22. That is like nuts to consider.
Yeah, it was. I look back
because I'm
and
type
like,
A as well. Like and so I'm thinking at 22, I'm like, no, I'm gonna finish college. I'm gonna get this job. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna work for 40 years. I'm gonna have a 401k. I'm gonna have a Roth IRA.
I don't know. Like, I mean, and I won't go into all this, but like I joined the military to pay for my college for a film degree. And then they didn't, which is that's a whole thing. But then that didn't work out. So then I worked full-time jobs and some help to pay for my college for this degree. So then when I got to this job and I wasn't absolutely in love with it, I was like, I did not go through all of that to not love this. And then I was very lucky to have emotional support of my parents who were just like, go get it. Like, I remember my dad took me out for my 23rd birthday and we went to like a steak dinner and I said, I think we're going to move to Atlanta. I was like, I think we're going to move to Atlanta this summer. And he was like, oh my God. And he's like, well, that's awesome. And I was like, really? You're not scared? Like, I have nothing lined up. I know nobody out there. And he was like, if there's anyone I think could go get it, I think it's you. And I think you should do it.
That's awesome to have parents like that. I mean, I have amazingly supportive parents as well. Now, I don't know how they would have reacted if I was at 22, 23 saying, hey, I'm going to Atlanta, see ya. But, I mean, that's just awesome to hear that you had that kind of support.
I think he was less scared because I had my husband. So it was like we could both get jobs, whatever. But honestly, I moved to Atlanta and I was like so against having a job in case, because in production, they call you like,
you got to be there.
They're like, we need you tomorrow. We need you in an hour. Like when you're new, you have to bite because they're sending that text to five or six people and whoever responds first gets it.
That's nuts.
So I was walking dogs for Rover. I was delivering food through an app called Postmates.
Oh yeah,
I was doing editing gigs for other people online and offering the cheapest photo shoots that make me want to throw up just to meet people, just to like get out there. So it was not easy, but then like anytime I got close to like, okay, you got to go get a job, dog. Like this is not working. Go work at Longhorn, go be a waitress, something. It would be like, there were 3 moments of that. And each time that was the night I'd get a call for a set. And I'm like, this is why I can't. So
affirmations.
Yes. So it all worked out. But yeah, I've felt this way since 17 though. Like go get your dreams. Like life is too short. And there's a million people who've said the same as me, but like really like what's the worst that happens? It doesn't happen, like versus you turn 50 and wonder why you didn't try it.
Yeah. And just never know.
Yeah. And we're in the age of social media. I mean, like so many people can create whatever business they want, whatever personality they want. Like I get probably 25% of my clients through TikTok. Like that's nuts.
That's the platform I need to ramp up my presence on TikTok, because it's like every time I do a video, which is not like, I'm not going viral or anything, but it's just like there's always followers after followers after followers. So people on TikTok are very active and engaging. Yeah. But I feel like I've just found a groove on Instagram, which Instagram has kind of swung back to the point where it's like they had down years. I feel like COVID, they messed up COVID. Like that was their opportunity to really like go next level. Yeah. And they from 2020 to like 2023, they did not do well at all. I don't think they just made the user experience terrible. They made their algorithm. They kept messing with it too much. And now I feel like they've finally kind of gotten to a place where it's like you can have very good growth authentically, but TikTok is still, I think, the most authentic way of growing and share, like not sharing, but engaging with people. Like your TikTok has much more authentic engagement, I think.
Yeah. I would say I get some off of Instagram, some from my TikTok, but half of my TikTok is not photography. It's just me being an idiot.
That's what TikTok is,
which,
right?
which works.
That's what it is.
And then, but my biggest clientele puller is Facebook for sure. So, but that's because of my Facebook group, not just like.
Oh, you have a like a boudoir group and then a regular.
Yes, I have my business pages, and then I have a VIP boudoir group, but I advertise my regular stuff in there too because it's up to about 7,000 people in it.
Dang,
Nice.
talk about a funnel.
It's nuts. It's nuts, and in the group it tells me what towns, like how many people I have in each town, and
Oh wow, yeah.
it'll tell me insights, the best time to post, the best day to post. But in there, I don't just advertise. I'll post like memes. It's a safe space for women to ask questions just about anything, not just photography. But then I can also come in there and be like, here's minis I'm holding, here's this. And it blew up.
So it's kind of taken a life of its own at that point then, right? Like you don't have to actively be Ashley in there and run the conversation and get it going. It's like other people are with 7,000 members.
Yeah.
Other people are kind of, like I said, it's taking a life of its own.
Yeah. I just have to like look out and make sure like no one's trying to like kill each other.
Oh,
That's fair.
Not that
that is
it
a
does.
problem I never thought I would have to consider.
Well, just like if people are asking personal questions and people have different opinions, because sometimes it does get deep in there.
People can get weird.
Yes, about things you wouldn't know, or like it's. I call it a safe space for women. So like women can be asking questions just about health, about raising kids, just anything. And then sometimes we just put stupid memes in there.
Yeah.
But it's the internet. There's going to be someone who gets offended no matter what.
No matter what, yeah.
Do you ever have guys who fake that they're girls?
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, you just try to get in there and see what's
I'm
going on.
uncomfortable with how quick she said yes. Like,
Why? Yesterday, this morning.
Yeah, no.
That's disturbing a little bit.
So there's guys who don't even cover. So what happens is you request to be in my group. There are like 3 or 4 entry questions, and it's just like, are you over 18? Because it's boudoir.
Right.
And what's the second one? And it's like, do you realize that this is a boudoir group and there will be like sexual photos, as well as like, this is an all women's group. And then one of them was just dumb, and it was like, do you want to feel like a babe? And it'll be like, Dave from Frankfurt said, yes, absolutely. I want to feel like a babe. And I'm like, so I have to vet them all. Like, first of all, you have to answer the questions, but luckily when they go to enter, it tells me when they created a Facebook. So if I get someone named Tammy with some pixelated photo and she created Facebook last week.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sign.
Group to
see
what's up.
What happens is a girl feels empowered. She'll post like a classy one on Facebook. She'll tag my group and be like, girls, you need to get in on this. And then whatever guy from high school that wishes he could have seen her will start requesting. Or they message me and they say real weird stuff.
That's sneaky.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's unfortunate. That's a part of the internet that I hate that I am unaware. Like, because I have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And granted, they're only 8 and 6, but it's just the idea that they're going to be growing up. Now, they don't have phones or anything yet, but they're going to be growing up in an even more dense internet presence and experience is frightening.
Oh my God. I don't know how parents do it.
Yeah. Well, we know some like parents that have given kids, not as young as my daughter, but like have given kids like age 10, 11 cell phones. And I'm like, for what though? Like, why
my
are we?
Cell phone was, when was it? Well, my first iPhone was I graduated high school. I got an iPhone as a graduation present.
Yeah.
And it was like the 5.
Same,
5
yes.
or 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, it was terrible for my mental health. Just to be clear, it was awesome, but it was terrible at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. But luckily for that, though, my boudoir group, like, you don't have to worry about like kids getting into that because it's like, but yeah, men are just men. Like they're just, and I say that with full anger.
With lots of bitterness.
I'm like, come on, man. Like someone will be like, oh yeah, I want to join for my wife to see the sales. And I'm like, no, you don't, Paul.
Your wife has a Facebook group, Paul. Have her join.
Right.
She can join the group.
Yes. But No, I answer it quickly because I will say probably weekly there's someone, but that's because I have gained such good engagement that now like weekly there are new people trying to join the group, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I can never get lazy with it.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yes.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, exactly. But luckily with all my boudoir sessions, like they sign a release whether they're okay with them being shared or not.
Oh yeah.
So like worst comes to worst, if someone did slither in and I found out, it's like it's nothing those girls haven't already posted themselves.
Sure.
So like, or nothing that I don't have a release on that I've probably also put on my Instagram. And I think men think they're getting into some secret, like I'm putting spicy secret photo. I'm like, it's Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg's still out here.
Right.
I'm not
I think
putting
this is like an OnlyFans thing.
Yeah.
right, and it's not. And then they come in and they just see we're talking about like the coupons at Costco this week.
Surprise.
Right.
The coupons at
Dollar off
Costco.
beef.
Yeah, exactly.
These are some hot deals.
But it's like the Facebook group has been so good, like for engaging and pushing up in the algorithm and getting my sales out there.
Good.
Like I would recommend it to even just portrait people. I know someone who just has a portrait VIP group where they just post their sales or day-to-day things. Like,
I think I need to do a senior VIP group.
yeah.
That'd be a fantastic idea.
So like my main thing is weddings, and then I would say seniors is together. Weddings and seniors are like 90% of my revenue.
Oh, really?
Which I do want to spread that out a little bit and work different avenues. But like you can see some of the samples on my wall here. But I would say that, and this is hopefully it doesn't come off arrogant, but I'm probably one of the top senior photographers in the entire Wabash Valley. I would say.
Let me say it for you. Yeah, ditto. He's the guy.
Yeah.
Literally.
Even just today, I got a call from a potential client that was like, "Hey, this is what we want. This is my son. And one of the things she said was, it's going to be like pulling teeth to get him to want to come out and do photos." And I was like, "Look, you don't want to waste your money on me. I'm too expensive and put too much into it that you're not going to get the experience that you want because he is not going to be into it." I was like, if he changes his mind, he's really gung-ho about it. And I also talked about like my style lends towards people who have extracurriculars, not only, but like that's my very niche portion of senior photography. And I was just like, I would be completely honest, I would love to work with him, but I only would love to work with him if he wants to be involved. If you have to pull teeth to get him to take pictures, you'd be wasting your money by spending it with me, because I would just take your $900 to $1,200, give you, your 10 to 15-ish photos, and you're not going to love them, but I'm going to still be $1,500 richer. So.
Right. No, I get that. That's so. Have you ever shot any seniors that weren't into it and you just like
once? And that's why I have like
really?
Not a rule, but I have that's like a red flag to me of like, this person's not into it. So, I shouldn't have to care. Like, that's my big thing. Like, I've trained my niece and nephew in basketball. And the one thing I always tell them is like, I can't care more than you care.
Yeah.
Because if that happens, then we're not we're not going to get a good product. You're not going to have a good time. All these different things. So
yeah.
I've shot one senior that was just like not like no smiles, not into it. Mom was there. He was uncomfortable because mom was there, and it was just the worst experience ever. And I'm just trying to bring the energy, like
Trying to keep a smile.
Trying to keep the smile up. Oh yeah, we're getting great shots.
Hype him, showing him the camera and stuff like that. Oh, look at this. This is sick, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
Can we leave, Mom?
Yeah. See, I'm stubborn in that way. I'll hear that all the time, and I'm like, till they work with me, and then I'm there doing the same thing. Like they don't want to be here.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with just the limited amount of time that I do have now. And I'm not saying you're not busy. I'm just like I'm just in a different phase of life where like I have 3 kids, and they take up a lot of time, and so it's just like I have to be very selective with who I work with and when and how. Like I had another client that wanted to only shoot on Sundays, and I was like, look, I'll shoot on it's my only day off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll shoot on a Sunday, but the upcharge is an additional $50 per hour worked. So not just me showing up, but like if the drive there and back is an additional $50 an hour on top of whatever the travel fee is. Yeah. The time editing is an additional $50. And so I was like,
dang,
you're gonna pay to have me out there on my only day off.
The time you're spent away from your kids and your wife.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's invaluable.
Yeah.
Right. No, I feel that.
But back to the point is like, I think I do need to make a senior VIP group, because I feel like that'd be Because that's just a bunch of moms advocating for me and being, a fan of my product and telling everybody else, like, hey, and it's almost like the Stanley Cup effect of like,
Yes.
You didn't get your photos done by ISO images? What are you doing?
Well, and like I said, like it's personality.
Yeah.
Like clients who've come to me through TikTok, they were like, "Oh, I loved your photos, but then like I saw you were like funny and that I would be comfortable working with you." And I was like, "Oh, that's perfect." Or in my Facebook group, it's so big now. Sometimes I'll just come in and give an update and be like, "Oh, I'm in Indiana this week celebrating my little brother's birthday," or like I'll post something, just a funny story that happened to me. So these people like get to know me as a human, and so I think that's what's helpful. Also, a little scary because then when people meet me, I'm like, "How do you perceive me?"
Right.
Like,
am I really who I say that I am on the internet?
I am, but I'm like, "Oh, do you have the right perception?" But it's helped a lot. It's helped me get clients that I vibe with a lot because they see my vibe past my photography.
Sure.
So.
And I was just thinking about that today. Like the pendulum in social media has swung. I think it started out where it was just like everybody was just posting everything. And it was like Instagram, the classic like posting a picture of your lunch thing. You know what I mean? Like just posting everything. And then now we are swinging back, and I feel like we are officially past the point of like just putting on a show, which I think there's still a lot of that out there of like brand accounts rather than like actual human being accounts.
Right.
And now we are slowly past that and then starting to get to the people craving authenticity version of what social media should be, which I think is probably going to be the most pure version, and hopefully it lasts for, at least a decade or so. But I think that we are getting to a point where authenticity matters most, not necessarily like how good, your photography might be or how good whatever product it is that you're featuring on your page or whatever. I think it's just people want to feel validated and like who they are and like have shared experience of like, oh, wow, I do that too. Or, oh, I live like that too. Or, I struggle with this, like anxiety, excitement, all these different things. And we want to be validated in these niche groups. And like you said, I think that helps you get connected with people that are so much like-minded like you that from the very first time you guys work together, it just flows naturally rather than having to go through the whole like awkward first 10 minutes of the photo shoot phase where it's like, okay, you're going to loosen up after a few minutes, but let's just start with some easy stuff. No, you always feel like you know somebody. Right.
And like, especially in my, so I shoot multiple types of photography, but especially in boudoir, like women are in lingerie and, people on the internet could see it and just be like, oh, these are like hot photos. These are spicy photos. But really, like a lot of my clientele come to me because I make videos about how it boosts your confidence and how you can feel better. And I don't think people realize that like more than half my clientele don't come in because they're just looking for a hot gift for their partner. They're more so looking like I like went through abuse. I've lost myself. I need to find myself. And they're looking for someone that they trust to give that comfort on top of the skill of photography. I think I've pulled more of my clientele from making videos on TikTok about loving yourself and finding yourself. Because I mean, everybody, man or woman, everybody has gone through a moment where they don't like their body that they're in. And as far as like liking my personality, I'm going off on a tangent here. Like you said, it takes a couple minutes to warm up. That like I have people coming in like shaking. They're so nervous. They're about to get in front of a camera, like half naked. And I'm like, no. Like this is all about fun and finding yourself. And the same is in a very different aspect with your senior photos. You want to bring out their extracurriculars. You want to get that personality. And so I think when they can get online and they can see our personality and they can trust that we can bring out theirs, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah.
But there's so many shooters out here who are just shoot and burn, want money.
They're just button pushers, man.
Yes. That I think it is so, I love that we're going to authentic because I love that. I love taking hot photos, but I love more when like they leave feeling good about themselves or they feel like my clients have come back saying they've gotten jobs. They've like fixed all these things about themselves just from gaining confidence from a photo.
Sure.
And that's like what lights my fire. So but I totally agree that I think we're leaning more towards authenticity because I think our generation thought like, oh my gosh, we have to look perfect. We have to look like hot shots. And Gen Z is like, no, dude, you just got to be real.
The resume generation.
Yes.
I think Hayden is really good at like being like that authentic. This is who I am unapologetically, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, but like his experience through school wasn't like great as far as like.
Oh no, I was a fat kid.
Being
growing up straight fat kid at heart still, so got the appetite to match.
Yeah.
But I think that it helped him get to a point where he's just like, I am who I am, and you love it or you hate it. And I mean, his ability to do that and my ability to do that was not very good. I feel like I've gotten a lot better over the last year.
Yeah.
With a lot of his help.
Oh, I love that.
But
Everything's okay. That's fine.
well, I got to give credit where credit
I'm a
is
words
due.
of affirmation guy. I freaking tear up anything.
Same.
Anytime anybody says something nice about me, I tear up. I don't care what it is. Like literally.
That's because you're authentic.
All right, calm it down. I'm gonna freaking cry.
I'm the same exact way, and I think that's why I find love in photography, because like I like bringing the authenticity. I like words of affirmation. I don't know. I think everyone in this life deserves to love themselves for who they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you're right. Like we all grew up wondering if we could. Like we kind of grew up in a bully generation.
Yeah.
And now we're talking to the generation down to us like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like you're good. So yeah, I think it's beautiful that you bring it out in photography. And that's why even like one of the first times I connected with you, it was like an instant click of like, I like this vibe. Like,
Yeah.
Like when Bianca was like, you got to meet Jordon. You're going to love him.
Speaking of, so me and Ashley are essentially trauma bonded for life at this point.
Trauma bonded.
Oh my
okay.
God. I didn't know if you were going to bring it up.
No, yeah, I mean, because she's doing so much better now, I feel confident talking about it. But
Okay.
just so when Bianca had her car accident, I had gotten multiple calls from people who were internal at the sheriff's department that were not good news, basically. And my first thought, I don't know why, but my first thought was, oh my God, Ashley has no idea.
Yeah.
And because she was in Atlanta at this point, I think, right?
How did you?
When you called me, I was actually
Well, I mean, like you had moved. You weren't around.
Yes. Yeah, I lived in Atlanta.
So you had a connection with Bianca before?
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys were like longtime friends, like childhood friends, or like what?
No. My cousin got married and is Bianca's friend and hired Bianca to be the videographer.
Got it.
Hired me to be the photographer. And then Bianca was like, we should meet up. And I was like, okay. And then Bianca was super cool. So we became friends.
Bianca is one of those very authentic people. Hate her or her lover, you're going to get Bianca at her realest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my first thought was like, I have to call Ashley. And I had no idea how to get a hold of her or anything like that. I think I might have like Facebook,
Yeah, you
Messenger,
called me through Facebook.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't know how to say this. I don't want to tell you, but I want you to know because you are close with Bianca, and I don't know anybody else that might tell you. And so I had to tell her the bad news.
You felt the obligation. You felt the responsibility.
Yeah. The very, very heavy responsibility. Yes, and so we had a moment on the phone where it was just like, this can't be real. And then we got back that information was bad information, and so it was just it was a wild. And the worst part was I felt so terrible, and still to this day I feel so terrible that I called her and was like, "Hey, she didn't make it." Basically, is what the conversation consisted of, because I was told by two what I thought were very, very credible. One was like a really good friend growing up who's in the sheriff's department, and the other was
And they didn't check their sources.
Right. Well, one of them was on the scene. That's why I was like, so
there was no like malintent or anything like that. It was just like
they were just
this
ill-informed.
is it. This is what I have.
Yeah.
There it is.
And so, to this day, I continue to just apologize because it was so, looking back, I'm like, you shouldn't have made that phone call. But I feel like if I didn't make that phone call, it was just like I was doing you a disservice by not.
No, I apprecited it. I was I was in the middle of an Applebee's.
Oh, no, I didn't realize that.
I was like, my friend.
Sobbing at the bar.
Getting those dollaritas.
Oh, man.
My friends are like, I was actually supposed to be coming to Terre Haute to see Bianca the next day. Like literally we had just texted like hours before that. And I was like, I'll see you tomorrow, girl. And then my friends in Lafayette were like, let's go to Applebee's and get appetizers and their dollaritas.
Crying over your mozzarella sticks.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, Jordon's calling me. I was like, that's weird. We've never spoken.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
mean, honestly, that was. I imagine that was probably like, why is this dude calling me right now?
Yeah,
But then on the other side, you were probably like, this got to be something important.
Well, and my mom had let me know that Bianca got in a wreck like an hour before that. She said she's in a wreck and it was bad. And I was like, okay. So when you started calling, I was like, oh God. And so I was like, maybe it's an update.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I picked up, he told me that. And I just was like, get me out of this booth right now. And I just went outside, just like couldn't breathe. And then you called me back and were like, she's alive. And I was like, huh. And I'm still at Applebee's. And I'm like,
just in shock.
Yeah.
yes. And my friends are like, do we go home? What do you want to do? And I was like, well, I don't really want to eat these wings anymore.
So I ruined her appetite that night.
You
too.
wasted the wings, Jordon.
It just
Frick,
felt,
man.
it was so much to process. I was like, I don't even know what to do right now.
I don't know what to feel. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do.
But poor Jordon was just like, I'm so sorry. I cannot believe I did this. And I was like, dude, no, you are so cool for thinking like, I don't want her to find out through Facebook.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, and then you just got super misinformed, super unfortunate. And then I awkwardly, like these friends who've met Bianca, like once I awkwardly had to be like, she's alive. You guys can keep eating your Applebee's. I'm gonna go.
Keep enjoying your mozzarella sticks.
And you were in Lafayette at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Goodness, that's intense.
Yeah, it was. So yes, we are very trauma bonded. I actually just told my friend that on the way here. I was like, I've never actually met Jordon in person. We've talked a ton
You
through
guys
Facebook.
have never met in person?
No.
Yeah.
Not once? That's crazy,
No, this
dude.
is the first time we've met in person.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
we've talked through Facebook about business stuff a lot, and like Bianca always talked Jordon up, like from the minute they met, and so I know so much about you through that. And then it's mostly because when I come here, I have a huge family, and I have tons of photo shoots, so I'm like ping ponging when I come to Indiana.
And that's on that note, I really appreciate you coming in and carving out this time because. I know that wasn't easy, and I know you got so many people that want to see. Everybody wants a piece of Ashley when she comes back home.
No. I don't know if I'd say all that, but I was happy to do it. And honestly, I wanted to meet you. Podcast sounds cool.
Yeah.
This is like the fourth person who's asked me. So I'm like, let me go in and try to not get myself canceled.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good goal.
Hey, get your feet wet. So now
That's
when
a
you go
good
back
goal.
home to Atlanta, you go on and just feel like a seasoned vet, you know?
Yes, but no. Jordon and I are bonded other ways. The business is great, and even when Bianca's like, oh my God, I'm like, Jordon, what you are to me, and it's so great, and we're gonna build this great business, and blah blah blah. And so I started following his work, and then I would call Bianca, and I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, he's killing it, bro. I was like, can I comment on his stuff, or is that weird?
Is that weird?
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Comment away. Drive that engagement up. Send me through the algorithm.
Right. We gotta look out for each other. But no, your work is fabulous. And even when I rented your studio Saturday, 2 of my clients who came in knew who you were.
Oh, cool.
Like
All
they
right.
came in and they were like, oh yeah, I know this guy's work, or oh, this is Jordon, right? I was like, dang. I was like, I mean, I'm shooting you, but yeah. Just kidding. It was totally boudoir, no fear. But I thought it was so cool that people could come up and know your name. I was like, dang, he's really, because Bianca was like, oh, he's up and coming. Now I'm like, look at him.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, don't say the F word, though. Famous?
No,
I was like-
we're not there yet. The podcast is what's going to make us famous.
Yeah, good. I was like, did I say the F word? But no, and I love talking photography. I love giving any advice that I can to help other people succeed and get what they want. So I was so happy to come on here and talk about anything. So
You got anything that you wanted to prompt with? I know.
Yeah. No, I wanted to. There was a specific question that kind of just came to my mind. So if you can think of, well, I mean, you don't even have to think of anybody. So there's somebody who's watching this right now that wants to do exactly what you do. Like
My heart.
they wants to do exactly what you do, and hopefully I do in a year from now when I'm full time. Run that person through what a day looks like for you. So let me answer this question for me first.
Okay.
If somebody walks up to you, what do you do for a living? What would you say?
I'm a photographer.
And you'd stop. That's a period, right?
Yes, because
Okay.
I do so many, like I do seniors, I do weddings, I do boudoir. I will say mostly other friends introduced me as a boudoir photographer.
Okay.
But I I do say, I also shoot other things if you
Yeah.
are not comfortable with that. But like run them through a day of like, what do you mean? Like marketing or like if I was doing a shoot?
So let's do a day where you have both. So it's a little bit of everything in a day, like a practical example. Like you wake up, what does your schedule look like? How do you have it blocked out? Because you mentioned that you were a type A, and that's a pretty organized. Is
Yeah.
that kind of reflected in your day to day? Do you have a pretty structured?
Yes. Yeah,
Day
I
to day?
try. I really try. Sometimes it gets out of my hands, but yeah, I wake up, I chew bubble gum, I kick ass.
There you go. Put that on a t-shirt.
Y'all heard it here
That's
first.
funny, man.
No, I would say on a day where I'm going to have a shoot, but I also want to like do my social media stuff, I feel like I get up, and actually in Atlanta, my best friend opened her business right next door to me.
Cool.
Yeah, and she's a collective salon, so they do like facials, hair, brows, makeup. So my client goes to them first and gets their hair and makeup done.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
And that gets them business too.
Yes.
Yo, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we opened up next to each other on purpose, so that we could give this whole luxury experience.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, so
That's
and
so
then
cool.
we give discounts if they go to each other's businesses. So I tell them Veil Beauty Collective, here's their stuff. They go there, get their hair and makeup done, and meanwhile, I live like 10 minutes from my studio. So I will be home. I would say. I wake up, I check my emails and respond to that, because I think a really big thing, which is unfortunate in this day and age, is you want to respond to an inquiry within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Of course,
Or-
minimum. Like that's
Right.
yeah.
So I get up, make sure I respond to all that. I usually, it's early, so I try to make a post in my group, just like, good morning, guys, or like a little meme to get that going for the day. Then I go to the studio. If I get there early, I try to do behind the scenes of them doing hair and makeup. But sometimes,
Can I interject real quick?
yeah.
Do you have like some sort of notification system that you have on for these like things that you're doing, or do you just remember these since you've been doing it and created a habit over time? Like, do you have reminders set that say, "Hey, make a post in your Facebook group"? Hey,
No, because the Facebook group I made in 2018, 2019, or no, I made it in 2019.
Okay.
So at this point, it's just like,
it's yeah,
and I'll be
Automated,
honest, yeah, most of my Facebook notifications are that group.
sure.
So it's like, I just know like, okay, I'm going to get up and say something. It's just habit at this point.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, if I get there early, I'll do behind the scenes. But if not, usually they will text me, hey, we're starting hair. I know that means I got like 30 minutes. I go set up my studio, clean it, set up all my lights and stuff. And then they come over, and I send them a questionnaire beforehand too, to see what type of music they like, pronouns, and any insecurities they have, anything they would love, just so I have a vision of what I'm working with
How far ahead do you typically send that?
as soon as they book me.
Okay, which is like timeline, like a couple weeks maybe? Maybe I'm totally ignorant.
It's usually like months.
Okay.
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, for boudoir, especially because it's very expensive.
Sure.
So
yeah.
a lot of people go on a payment plan. So I send it ahead of time so that if they're, especially because I get so many people with deeper stories, like I want to know if there's something like that I need to be aware of before your
something
shoot.
sensitive, yeah. Of course.
Yes. And also I'll just ask like things that help me, like your address so I know where to ship your products, what size you wear in, like I say bathing suits, because I offer a lingerie client closet in my studio. So that way, while they're getting hair and makeup done, I can pick out pieces that I think will match their personality and their sizes for them to just get excited.
You got it down to a T.
I do. Yeah.
It's so cool to see like your whole process. Like it's just so like habitual at this point. You just have it down.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So, because some of them are coming in for bridal, some of them are coming in for fun. But if it's bridal, I know I'm gonna grab I have like a veil in the studio. I have little things that are more bridally, and then I set up a playlist, which I've made a collaborative playlist within my group, and I say like add like your hype songs. So, and in my questionnaire, the final thing is a link so they can add. So I go check if they added that, and I put on the playlist so they come into their vibes.
That's cool.
That's nuts.
man.
So you basically create an atmosphere where they have no choice but to just feel at home.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
So like they come in, because I have some people who come in, they love EDM, and some people who come in, they love emo music. So
EDM
it's like,
during a boudoir shoot is
EDM
wild.
crazy,
it's
bro.
it's so fun.
Skrillex.
Okay, I love EDM, so honestly, that's a good vibe for me. We are just
I got no problem with EDM. It's just I'm having a hard time
Yeah.
marrying EDM with boudoir and seeing
Yes.
some in my head somebody getting their photos taken while they're like,
Yeah, just freaking fist pumping, dude.
well, we're not like bumping it. It's just like there.
yeah.
So they come in. A lot of girls bring in like 20 outfits, and they're like, I didn't know what to wear. So we'll go through all of it.
Suitcase.
Yes.
Sounds about right.
So we basically lay it all out. We lay out any accessories that they want to personalize their session, and then we put on music and we get to shooting. And then when I get home, that's usually around like 2 or 3, and I feel like that's when my Instagram pops off and TikTok. So if they leave and I'm not completely dead from shooting, I will make TikToks in my studio because I save a lot of drafts, that I'll make like 7 at once, and then I'll just like have stuff to post. And then I will post one on Instagram, like a photo on Instagram or a reel. And then I go home, and that's when I just do marketing stuff, because usually at that point, I need to stop doing it, but I let people Facebook message me, and it's my nightmare. But I also, I hate emails. Like, it's clean, but
I love email. I'm 100% email me, because I don't like I just had a client yesterday, or a person yesterday, message me on my business page, which automated response sends you to my inquiry page. Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out it was a photographer that wanted to rent the studio. And it was yesterday, Sunday. So then I was like, I didn't respond to it because it's Sunday.
Yeah.
And then she sent me a friend request. And then her boyfriend, who I worked with him like 12 years ago at Texas Roadhouse, messaged me and was like, hey, my girlfriend messaged you, yada, yada. And I understand, like, she was in a spot where she's like, hey, I kind of need to know some information. But at the same time, I'm just like, dude, it's Sunday. Like, I don't work on Sundays.
Yeah. No, and I fully get it. That is the smart thing to do. I just need to get on that train. Mm-hmm. My issue is that, like, especially with boudoir, I feel like if I get like a senior inquiry, it's like, my daughter needs photos and this is what we want. Cool, boom, boom, boom. Boudoir, they have like 1,000 questions every time. So it's like
a lot more nuanced and
yes
of a conversation, yeah.
Yeah, so usually I would say, depending on the day, I usually finish my shoot, I go home, and I do marketing, and probably about 2 or 3 times a week I do consultations. So like, especially for boudoir, I do a phone call consultation because I want to make sure I'm your vibe. I want to make sure you're my vibe. And I also want to know, like, basically my first question is like, what are you hoping to get out of this? Are you here because you want to boost your confidence and you're a single girl out on the scene, then this just sounds fun? Or is this for your wedding that's in 2 weeks and I need to get you on the books? Or like, there's just so many, and especially with something that vulnerable, women have so many questions to make sure they're safe. This is legit. Because I have a lot of
Something
people.
I didn't even think about too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I have a lot of people come from out of state.
Oh,
so
okay.
they're like, I don't want to fly here, and then you're like a scammer.
Yeah, like some guy named Paul.
Yes.
From your Facebook group.
Yes.
Sorry to all the Pauls out there. We're just dragging your name through the mud.
He says, hi, I'm Ashley.
Yes. But yeah, I would say my day is basically post, send them to get hair and makeup done, set up their shoot for their vibes. Because also a lot of my boudoir shoots, it's not just like they come in and get a classic boudoir shoot. It's like, I know their vibes, and we usually create an idea together. Like, it's funny we said EDM. Last week, I just photographed a girl who wanted her shoot to be rave style.
Like neon and stuff like glitter and stuff like that?
Yeah.
That's
So I was
crazy.
getting out like all my like disco balls, reflectors, like just.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's another part, is that a lot of them, I don't like shooting the same thing over and over.
I feel that.
So a lot of it is me being like, okay, this client wants this type of style. And my studio is so big that I have to like run around and adjust everything for every shoot. But yeah, then I go home and I'm just trash. I just go home, put on my sweatpants, and open up my laptop and get to work.
This this is helping me out a lot because I remember whenever it's funny, I circled back around to this idea of pursuing this as a business because when I first started into the whole video thing, I was like, yeah, I want to own my own production company and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it's really, really glamorous.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about, I want to chase my dreams, that phrase, chase my dreams, like end quote.
Yeah.
It's very real and you should definitely do it.
Yeah.
And you just explained a full day where 80% of that day was business stuff.
Yeah, not shooting.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's 80. I would say probably 70% of it was not art.
Yeah.
Per se. It was like 30% of it was like, that's what you're just like, man, this is amazing and stuff like that. And the other things, those were like systems that you have put in.
Yeah.
And I guess the point I'm trying to make is for people who want to do this, they need to understand that if they want to chase their dreams, do it. Please, please, please do it. And it's not as glamorous as some people make it out to be.
Yes.
It is hard work.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. You're good.
That's the difference where I was talking about, like, where there's brand accounts, you know, for TikTok, for example, there's brand accounts and then there's authentic people.
Yeah.
And I think the authentic people like yourself who are making those TikToks that are very relatable and validating to people is just like, you know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Like, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great point.
And I think a big piece of advice is just have a workflow. Have a workflow so you don't feel like it's like all business all the time and everything's catching fire. Because a big thing for me too is if I'm like, you know what, I have like 2 hours today with nothing. I don't have a shoot and I don't want to have to post every day. I just schedule all my posts so that they just go out. So that I've always said, which is messed up, I'm always like, what if I schedule posts and then I die and then my final post is like eating chili cheese fries and I'm already deceased.
Yo, sitting in your casket, they're liking your photo of eating chili cheese fries. That's
Right.
crazy.
But
I never even like thought about that. That's
morbid
insane.
thought. That's crazy.
well, it's
That would be hilarious though.
Yeah.
Like,
right. Like, because there's been so many times my mom's like, you didn't text me back, but you posted on Facebook. I'm like, oh, that was scheduled like a week ago. Because I will know, like, okay, like I need to like post a sale on this day.
Yeah.
Or I need to, this is when I want to drop this exclusive like Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
I'll be like, let me put it in advance so I don't miss the window when I know people are online.
I need to get better about that scheduling stuff. I do it every now and again. Like I'll get on a kick where I'll schedule like a bunch of stuff and then I'll like fall off of it because it gets scheduled out. So it's like,
You're like, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, all these
Yes.
automated posts are going out. I'm just like, oh yeah, I did post that, didn't I?
Yes. So I will say like a big piece of advice is it is a lot of work, but if you have a workflow, like it's clean. Like not to sound, this makes me sound goofy, but like, yes, but I wake up so habitually. It's like one post, I already know what I'm putting and that's 2 minutes of my day. And then I go to do my photo shoot. But if I keep it all clean, I get to come home, all my stuff's caught up, and then I have the day
To relax, yeah.
yeah, to relax, to do what I want, or just spend time with my family.
And you've made your money for
Take
the day.
trips back home. Yeah.
Yes, that's a big one, and I'm so thankful to be able to take these trips back home. But like, I'm sure a lot of your listeners will be local, and like shout out to Terre Haute because those are the girls who have added the most people to my group, and
All right, on.
it's crazy because I'm like I didn't actually grow up here. I didn't go to school here. I just had
Your
family.
mom's, yeah.
And now I feel like everywhere I go here, someone's like, they know my work. And I'm like, that is crazy. But yes, it's a lot of work. But if you're passionate about it, it doesn't matter. Like it's worth it and it's fun. And at the end of the day, once I'm at that set and see the art I create, it's worth it. And that's why it's so expensive.
Right.
Because I'm not just showing up and shooting.
Talk about that money.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We got to talk about the money at some point.
Dude,
So I mean, I'm glad that you ended it on that. Is like that's why it's so expensive. Because if you guys are listening, like everything that she just talked about, that she puts into the art of photography, specifically within boudoir, that's a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of her, expenses for the business and everything. That's why this type of stuff costs so much money. And me with my senior photography, that's why this stuff costs as much as it does. And you can go gladly find another photographer that is, going to give you something simple, as I like to say it. I replace the word simple with cheap. But you can gladly go find a photographer that will do it more simple. But I can guarantee you your experience is not going to be the same. I can guarantee
you'll
it.
get a button pusher.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get a button pusher.
And what people also don't think about is like, yeah, people could look at that and think, okay, so she wakes up, posts on Facebook, does a shoot, and comes home and posts on Facebook. But really, what they don't realize is that if I'm booking out months, I got 20 to 30 people messaging me a day. Does this outfit look good? Does the weather look good for this? Hey, I had this come up. Like, it's a constant flow of like keeping up with people. So, but I think the same thing, not even just with boudoir, but with weddings are so much work. At seniors, all of it. You really, if you're getting up there in the pricing, like the pricing equals curating something memorable.
Yeah.
And that's really just what I want to give to people and what I want other photographers to give to people. And I'm not very much of like, I want people to get to my pricing. I want people to be on my level because I would love to see, a whole community of photographers who treat it that way.
Yep. Absolutely.
So.
There's a sea of money out there. Grab a bucket and get to work.
Yes. And one thing I do want to end on, we're not talking about it, but I hear so many photographers or up and coming photographers in the Terre Haute area or in Indiana, like, oh, well, I can't make money like you because you're in Atlanta. That's not true at all.
Come on, man. That's such a cheap cop out.
I know, but I think people really get scared of that. Like they see like Indiana costs less to live in. I've had some of my biggest clients from Terre Haute itself.
That means more money to spend on extracurricular services. What do you mean? Like you can argue it both ways.
Yeah.
Yes. So what I mean is like take it as a hopeful thing. It's like you can thrive anywhere. I'm in Atlanta because I wanted to get into film, but like I could just as easily move back here and be just as successful.
Sure.
And so can many others. And don't let the fact that there's multiple photographers out there stop you. I'm in a city where there's probably hundreds doing the same thing that I'm doing. And we're all eating.
I was going to say, and that's the thing is like maybe there's only 15 photographers in this area that are worth their weight, and you could easily say, oh, well, she's in Atlanta. Yeah, but she's also got 10 times, she's in a 10 times bigger city. She's also got 10 times the competition. Or, I say competition, but she has 10 times the saturation of creatives out there as well. So, and all just as talented skill-wise. Now, you have to curate something that is special for that client. I
think people within areas like Terre Haute who do have the talent and the passion and the drive get scared to charge their worth.
I was for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's like, don't. Like
cold sweat when I sent that first message over like $2,000.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's worth it. And honestly, a big thing I learned is another photographer taught me this. It was like, if you charge cheap, like, how did they put it? They said, you're too cheap for luxury clients and you're too expensive for cheap clients. You don't want to be that middle ground. You charge what you're worth and the clients you want will come to you. And my biggest mantra I live by is like, this is such a girly one, but like everybody, if someone wants it, they're going to get it. You can go to Walmart and get a purse and it'll work just fine. But you can also go to Gucci and get a purse, and don't be down on yourself because you live in Terre Haute and you're Gucci. There are still people who are going to save up that money and buy the high-end products.
Mm-hmm. And the way that we've talked about, the way I've said it to him is like, and he loved this. I don't know why he loved it so much, but I tell him it's not my responsibility to monitor how somebody else spends their money.
Dude,
yes. Yes, it's so true. I think for me, at least, like the way I grew up, like my family made, I would say like middle class. Like it's not like we were big and bougie, but we were all right. But I think like with that, when I started getting more expensive, I had that money guilt.
Yeah.
Of
Dude,
like
guilt is the word.
Yes.
Like it's real.
And you got to push past that, because if you want it, I mean, look at like Xboxes, PlayStations, like this equipment. Like if you want it, you will save up for it, whether you are a waitress or you're a CEO.
Little Timmy, who has a lemonade stand every summer, saves up for a PlayStation 5.
Right.
There's a little Timmy. You comment down in the comments below. I know you're out there and you saved up from a lemonade stand and bought a PlayStation 5, and you're probably playing. What's a game? I don't.
Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption 5. I don't know.
Yes, but but I like to think about that in photography. Whenever I feel that guilt, I'm like, I've earned it. This worth is here.
Yep.
And same for you guys, and same for anyone who listens to this. Like, if you put your heart into it and you don't let people scare you away from bad prices because they're cheap, that's on them. And I will say this, I've had several clients go, that's way too much for me, and I find them back in my DMs a year later.
It's so funny because like I'll find people that were like, this is too much, or particularly in the wedding game. But I'll have clients that are like, oh no, we can't afford that, or that's too expensive, or whatever the case may be. And then I've had people reach out after me like, we should have hired you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
because disaster struck.
And that's the one that I can't redo. I can't redo that one. Like seniors, you can get a bad senior shoot and come back and be like, hey, we need to try again with you, like the right way this time, or just like a family session, or I have a person who's wanting to be a social media influencer, and so she's building a retainer package with me. You can go to somebody cheap and then come back to me and redo that. You can't redo your wedding.
And payment plans exist, and you can, like, everyone can make it work if they want to. And especially for me, I try to make it flexible because everyone deserves good photography, but also like this is our livelihood. And we deserve to be paid our worth. And at the end of the day, whenever I'm feeling guilty, I'm like, I'm not food, I'm not medicine, I'm not housing. If right now someone can't afford it and they just need to wait 6 months, that's okay. And I don't have to feel bad that because I'm out here, like I said, outfits, curating,
working
everything.
Just as hard as what they are. Yeah.
So advice for anyone listening as well as you: don't feel bad about it. I fight it still, and I have to remind myself, like, I mean, look at this set itself. We got 3 cameras going? That's not cheap.
These are some expensive cameras too, bro.
And it's social media age. People are going to post them everywhere. They're going to use these for years to come, and you have to be confident in the fact that you are worth that.
All right. Hayden, I know you got to go. We're a little over your time anyway.
It's all good.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No,
it's all your fault, Ashley. Literally,
he's got to get home and make dinner for the missus.
Aww.
My wife's working hard. Love you, Carly.
But yeah, so we thank Ashley for coming in and sharing her experience with us. There was probably a ton more we could have got into. So next time when she's in Terre Haute, we're gonna bring her back on. But we thank you for coming in and taking the time, carving it out of your short visit, I'm sure, to Terre Haute. And we'll see you next time.
I appreciate it. It was so good to meet both of you.
Yep. Yeah. Nice to officially meet you in person.
Right.
Yes.
Well, this was great. Thanks.
Yep. No problem. We'll see you soon.
All right.